Grand rising to all the gods and goddesses of planet Kai. Grand rising to all the divine beings and chosen ones all around the world, family. I'm sending y'all high vibrational energy and gratitude, pushing that energy y'all way, family. And thank you to the Most High Divine Mother and Father, for another beautiful rise. My whole entire spiritual team, family. It's divine intellect signing in. Now, what we're going to discuss today is a very serious topic. A lot of people come to realization or have thoughts about this specific topic along their life journey or at some point in their life, and that is death, family. Now, one thing that I know is the media and just everything, like as far as the internet, the government, the system, this whole matrix construct is always trying to push fear. It's a force that's always trying to push fear, make you scared, make you worry, like make you worry throughout your whole life. And one thing that will make you worry is death, because you wonder where you're gonna go after this, or what's gonna happen to you when you transcend and transition from this realm. But like, you have nothing to fear, family. The thing is, they want to keep us in our root chakra. Our root chakra keeps us in fear, keeps us in worry. That's where majority of the world is at. If you're operating in a third dimension or lower frequency, because it's lower frequencies than the third dimension. You can go even lower. But yeah, family, death is something that when I was in my root chakra, I feared and always thought about, because you don't know what's after this lifetime, right? So you're just stuck worrying. Now, one thing that you have to know, family, as a spirit and soul, as having consciousness, or as being a living being, your energy, right? So energy never dies. Energy continues to move forward. Energy will forever be a source. It will always live on forever. Energy would always move. Energy could never die. As a god or a goddess of this planet, you're an electrical being, right? Now, as far as you dying, all you're doing is leaving this vessel and transitioning over to your spiritual vessel, your astral vessel. Because we have many, as multi-dimensional beings, as gods and goddesses of this realm, and I'm specifically talking to my gods and goddesses out there. We have an energetic frequency, an energetic aura field around us. And the thing is, everything around us moves off frequency and vibration. That's why the enemy is always trying to lower the frequency, lower the vibrations, right? Keep everything in a dense frequency as far as being trapped in the third dimension. See, when you raise your frequency, you escape out of just seeing what's in the third dimension. You see beyond the third dimension. You see on higher dimensions, 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, and you continue rising and rising. And that's how you start to see the magical things that's happening on this realm, or being able to see beyond the veil, as far as seeing the certain beings, certain magical things that's taking place around you that you don't see with your regular two physical eyes, right? So when you transition from out of this vessel, right, you're only going to other realms and other dimensions with other astral vessels, because you have many vessels. You don't just have this vessel here on this planet. Because think about it, when you rest we're multidimensional beings. So think about it, when you rest every day, every night, when you get ready to get rest, or even if you rest through the day, whenever you get rest, we don't say sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death, damn it. If you think about it, it is, because when you sleep, that's you basically being off, like channeled off, no connection to the world, just lost out here like an NPC or a bot. No connection, no consciousness. That's what I would consider sleep. You just out here just moving, being controlled and manipulated, and just going with what society or this matrix wants you to go with, instead of having your own consciousness and your own mind and willpower and discipline, self-discipline to fight the matrix, to go and basically create your own life for yourself. Because as divine beings, as chosen ones, you can create your own reality based off your thoughts, based off your words, because the tongue is very powerful. So you have to watch what you say, because you can manifest and create that. So the Matrix wants you to be in a low frequency. The Matrix wants you to be in fear. The Matrix wants you to self-sabotage and put certain things out there into the atmosphere to create that for yourself, or put that out into the ethers or the universe for you to create that for yourself. So you have to be mindful of that. As being multidimensional beings, like I was saying, we have astral bodies on different realms and on different planets as well, family. Because we're not only on this planet, but right now in the physical, we do embody this physical vessel to take on what our mission is on this planet, on planet Kai. But we have many other vessels on other planets and dimensions, on other dimensions as well. All right, we have astral bodies, right? That does the work in the spiritual realm, as above, so below, as we have missions and work to do down here on this realm, on planet Kai, on Earth. As being multidimensional beings, as gods and goddesses, divine beings, right? Every time we rest or go into the astrals, we leave this vessel and basically go take on our astral bodies and travel through different dimensions and do our work in the spiritual realm. That's why we have dreams. It's part of like astral traveling. Or if somebody go into a deep, or if you ever meditated and went to a deep meditation and possibly had an outer body experience, that's real, family. And they were showing us that on the movie Insidious, that you can travel basically with this multidimensional as a multidimensional being in this vessel, right? This physical vessel, you can travel and go to different realms, go to different dimensions in the spiritual realm. They showed us that on the movie Insidious. Every time they went within, they astral travel out of their body. They had an outer body experience. And that's something that we do every time we rest. I don't say sleep like I mentioned. We say rest because we rest. And then we come back to this physical vessel. But when you rest, you astral travel all the time. You go to different realms, different dimensions while you're dreaming, and experience different things within the spirit, within your the spiritual realm, family, when you're resting, when you're out of this avatar. But you always, when you awaken, you out of your rest, you come back to this avatar. That's when your spirit and soul comes right back into this vessel. But think about when you die, family, when you go through death. When you just think about when you transition, or when you leave this vessel and you die, right? All you're doing is leaving out of this vessel and going to take on other missions that you have in the spiritual realm, and are using whatever other astral bodies you have on other dimensions, other planets, to take on life in the spirit, whether it's in the spiritual realm or like wherever you choose to go after you leave out of this vessel. Because if you have a spirit and soul, you have the option to come back reincarnate into this lifetime, or you could just decide to stay in the spiritual realm and take on other missions that you have to take on in other dimensions, right? And in your spiritual vessel. But like, if that's only if you have a spirit and a soul. If you only have a spirit and you lack a soul, you don't get to choose to come back to do what you want. Because a lot of people who sold their souls in past lifetimes and sold their soul to Satan, they don't have control no more. So when you think about the celebrities and different people that, like people that's on high statuses or joined the Illuminati, whatever secret societies or whatever they have done, like as far as selling their soul and making a deal with the devil, they no longer could choose what they want to do no more. They lack a soul. So now Satan's in control of them and their lives and how things work for them because they sold out to him. So, and that's a fucked up deal. But when you don't know who you are and you don't know how this world operates, and that we're in a magical realm and we're in a battle, we're in a spiritual warfare with the enemy, which is Satan, you wouldn't know what you're getting yourself into if you're unaware, or if you lack a high consciousness or knowledge about how this world works and things like that. You get yourself caught up in certain deals and agreements because you looking at materialistic things. You value the material things more than you value who you are authentically and on a spiritual level, right? So you be lost. They don't have a chance to decide what they want to do in the next lifetime because they're forever stuck in this realm. Yeah. So they're forever bound to the 3D, this third dimensional world. So they can't even ascend to higher consciousness or levels because they lack a soul or lack chakras. Because not all human beings, but I'm only mentioning like only the high vibrational human beings have a spirit and chakras. But for all the human beings that's low vibrational, that's soulless, or even people of my complexion, like that lack souls and just only have a spirit and lack chakras, they can't ascend if they're soulless or demonic beings or malevolent beings. They can't ascend to higher levels of consciousness or raise their vibration because they soul in past lifetimes, like I mentioned, so they're forever trapped and bound to this third dimension. And they don't get to decide because Satan is in control of that for them now. He has their soul. So he can clone them, he can make them come back as NPCs, or he can leave them stuck forever in Hades, which is another word for hell. They teach us heaven and hell. Heaven is the astral planes, hell is Hades. So these people will be forever bound in Hades if Satan don't allow them to come back into this lifetime. But he could allow them at any time to come back to be an NPC, a soulless being, or just to cause disruption as a malevolent being to this whole world, or continue being like helpful for the Matrix as far as like being an NPC or a soulless being, carrying out demonic rituals and doing demonic things for the work, doing demonic work for Satan, basically. Like that he can bring them back to do those things. And they can't ascend or raise their consciousness or frequency to be able to escape because they sold their souls. So if you lack a soul, Satan is in control of everything with you. But like as far as as far as being a multi-dimensional being with a spirit and a soul, you can ascend and raise your consciousness higher to higher levels, higher dimensions, way higher frequencies, and you can see beyond the veil. Seeing with a spirit and a soul, this is not the only lifetime you've had here in this realm. You had many lifetimes here in this realm. It's just we weren't aware that the moon was basically a tactic that these draconian reptilians and that this system was using to basically trap our soul, to basically keep reincarnating here. Before we was aware of that, we was just steady reincarnating here like we decided to do in this lifetime as well. Like, because what they do is they use the moon as a way to soul harvest, to trap your soul. So when you transition, we wasn't aware of it. We came back into the light. That's why we're here now in this physical lifetime as a god or a goddess, as a multidimensional being, as a divine being. You came back into the light in this lifetime if you have a spirit and a soul, right? And a consciousness. So that's why you're here in this physical reality in this lifetime. You came back into the light because you basically made an agreement, another soul contract, as far as what you were going to do when you came back here, or like whatever your mission was to fulfill in this lifetime. You signed a contract, you made a deal, like you made the deal with the Most High Divine Mother and Father and the Divine Creator, Divine Source, to come back into this lifetime to do righteous things and to help raise the frequencies and vibrations on this planet. So you return here and you had to return back through the light. And what I said, the reptilians and these elite, well, they're not elite. We're going to call them the no powers that were, because they hold no power over us or our people, right? So what they do is they use the moon to harvest souls. So when you go into that moonlight, when you transition, like they say, go to the light. They teach you that in religion. Go to the light. Go to the light. So when you transition, you go to the light, and that's what brings you back into this third dimension. But if you don't go to the light when you transition and you stay in the darkness, you decide to stay in the astrals, the spiritual realm. So you don't return back into this physical vessel, which is basically hell if you're in a low frequency. But when you ascend, like I said, that's when you raise your consciousness. That's when you raise your vibration, which is basically heaven, that Christ consciousness, right? Because heaven and hell is all a mindset, right? As a multidimensional being, if you don't raise your vibrational frequency and ascend to higher consciousness levels, you'll be stuck in a low vibrational frequency down here in the third dimension with these NPCs and everything that's low vibrational, or these soulless beings and these demons. If you don't raise your frequency, you'll be trapped in that dimension as well, in that third dimension. But we have to do the work to raise our frequency and come out of root chakra, which is hell, to rise into that Christ consciousness. Because when you're vibrating high, you're in that Christ consciousness. But when you're in 3D, or when you're in your root, that's fear. That's hell. That's hell all around you, because you in fear, you in worry, you in lack, you in survival mode. That's fear. And that's where they want to keep majority of the world at. Thing is, with the moon, the reptilians, they use that to harvest souls and to try to trap us and keep us here. But like I said, we decide to come back here when we go to that light. So that's how they get us every time and wipe away our memories of all our lifetimes and everything that we basically was supposed to remember. And especially coming into this lifetime, we were supposed to remember everything from our past lives all the way up to the contract and agreement that we signed with the Most High Divine Mother and Father when we chose to reincarnate into this lifetime, incarnate into this physical avatar. But the thing is, we've been taught our whole lives, go to the light, go to the light. So not fully being aware, because once they wash your memories away, once you go back into that moonlight, they wash your whole memory away of everything that you've known from your past lives all the way until supposed to have remembered coming into this lifetime when you were being reincarnated. So once you go into that light, everything get wiped away. You already made the contract with the Most High Divine Mother and Father to return back here, divine source, to return back here to fulfill your mission. But when they wash away your memories, wipe your memories clean and of everything that you remember, you come back into the light, reincarnated in this physical avatar, and then that's when you have to learn everything all over again. That's how they wipe our memories away and try to keep this illusion going. That's specifically like how they try to do for the gods and goddesses, the chosen ones, and all the divine beings. They try to wipe our memories away so that we don't never remember what we were supposed to have done, like walk into as far as our mission and what we were supposed to be carrying out when we chose to come back into this lifetime. So they basically wanted us lost so that we could just go along with the Matrix programming and be lost out here with these NPCs and these soulless beings and these demons, so that we could just keep this Matrix construct going on while they harvest the energy of us chosen, because this Matrix need our energy in order for it to thrive or even to survive. Without the chosen one's energy, this Matrix cannot operate. It can't work without our energy. So that's why the beast of Babylon and these demonic forces and these reptilians been draining from us for so long, because they need our energy, because our energy is a source. It's a generator to basically keep this whole grid going. So when we choose to take back our energy and use our power for us, it disrupts and causes this matrix construct to glitch. And that's when they start becoming aware of that. So they try to attack you, send all type of attacks at you to try to lower your frequency, put you back in root. They try everything. But when you ascend and you done the work and you fully ascended, they can never bring you back into root. They can never make you drop your frequency back low. Because once you've done a lot of work to heal yourself and you really go down this journey and you take it serious, nobody can lower your frequency. Nobody can even cause an emotion to come out you unless you let them, or unless you give them the power to. These demons, these NPCs, and these soulless vessels, they can't even get near you by spiritual law unless you give them the permission to. So that's how deep it is, because once you raise your consciousness and frequency, you create a shield around your aura to where you're divinely protected by your ancestors, your spiritual team, and the Most High Divine Mother and Father and all your angels that surround you all the time, right? Earth, it was the most lowest, like in the Pisces age, it was at its lowest frequency. Now that we're in the age of Aquarius, the frequency on planet Kai, planet Earth, is rising now, out of being in a lower frequency, the same way that the gods and goddesses is rising now, because they tried to keep us at our lowest frequency. Now we're rising. Now we're remembering. Now we're remembering who we are again, right? And we're not going with what they told us and taught us we were. And as far as the chosen ones and the divine beings as well, who have missions to carry out in this lifetime, y'all are remembering who y'all are, remembering what y'all came back here to do, family. As long as all of us, the whole collective, or anybody that's standing for righteousness and standing for helping raise the frequencies on this planet. So death is just an illusion. We know that we can't be in these avatars forever, family. It's just like you going to go rent a house out, right? For you, it's something that's temporary, or something that you have for the time being. Like if you paying rent, you don't own it. It's something that you're renting out for the time being until you have to leave out, or you move and find your own place, or, you know, it's temporary. So these vessels are not, it's the same way. We don't have these vessels for forever. You only have this specific vessel for a certain amount of time before you have to transition over and go into your other life. Go to the spiritual realm to take on other lifetimes and other missions and things that you have to carry out in other dimensions, different planets. So this is not your only lifetime. So, you know, this vessel is only going to be here for a certain amount of time, and for you using it to fulfill whatever mission you have to fulfill in it while you're in this lifetime. So this is just the avatar for you to handle what you have to handle in this lifetime, or carry out whatever mission you have to complete that you agreed to complete, and with the Most High Divine Mother and Father, or your spiritual team. And so yeah, family, death is just an illusion. If you in fear, or like I said, you in root, you're gonna be in fear. You're gonna always worry about it. But once you raise your consciousness and frequency, you already know you're connected to everything around you. You know that you're connected to divine source, and you know that everything is an illusion, and everything that we've been taught was a lie. And once you raise your frequency, you can never drop back in free. Like when you ascend, you can never drop back to your lowest frequency of being in fear and worry and in survival mode and just being in that root energy. That's the worst. That's hell, for real. But if this video resonate with y'all, family, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video to more divine beings and chosen ones all around the world, family. Divine Intellect signing out. Ashe.